Alrighty, welcome one and all to the 10th episode of Coffee Talk. Damn, there's the game. So, today I am joined by Joie and Rio, who were actually the very first guests of Coffee Talk when we first debuted Cerulean Skies 6 months ago. So why don't you guys go ahead and say hello?
Hello. I can't believe it has been that long. I didn't know this is the 10th episode. That's 10. Woo! Woo!
Legit, time flies.
Yeah. Yes, it does. And yeah, we're back here. It does feel like it's been a while.
Alrighty, so
I'm different.
For the 10th episode of Coffee Talk, we decided to make it a bit of a special episode because 10 episodes is quite a monumental feat for a show like this. And we had you guys, the audience, submit questions to us. And boy, heck, did we get a lot. We have about 30.
Ooh. Couple 2-tree.
Yep.
And they are all for Golden.
Yes.
Joey
of
and I are
course.
just props.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So-
just,
I didn't read any of these beforehand, so I don't know what to expect. But apparently, none of them are raunchy, right?
yeah. So part of it was.
So you have to make them that way. You don't get any help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So part of the criteria was that they could be like philosophical questions, lighthearted questions, silly or goofy questions, specific questions targeted towards myself, Rio, or Joey, or like any other type of questions. Kind of in line with what we've normally done here on Coffee Talk. But one of the things was that if it was very derogatory or just not in line with how we, It's Really As Guys, act, then we wouldn't use it for the stream. But surprisingly, we actually didn't get any like that. So I didn't have to throw any of the questions out. Rio, did you actually take a look at the questions beforehand, or are you going in blind as well?
No, I don't know how I was supposed to access that. I don't think I was ever given
Yeah.
access to that information. So yeah, I am going in absolutely blind on this.
Well, apart from the Rio measurement questions, everything else is pretty sound. So just be prepared to answer
I'm
that. and we're good.
6'3". We can get that out of the way right now.
Are you really?
Are you actually?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I
Damn.
am.
I thought you were a short king. I don't know why.
thought you were
Why
with
do you
us.
think Nem was talking
Yeah.
about beating me down for throw a tall person?
Beating me down.
Yeah, that's gonna go so well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's awesome. That just it changed my perception a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought you were down here with us, Rio.
Fellow short king, golden drummer,
Apologies.
730.
Listen, I'm only 5'7". It's not too short.
I'm 5'6", I think, but like I feel like that's generous. A generous 5'6", a generous 5'5", a light 5'6". I suck.
Alrighty. We have a lot to get through, so without further ado, let's hop right in. So, this first question, or questions I should say, comes from the user It's Your Boy Crunk Nasty. I genuinely do not know who that is, but Joey, you probably do.
I don't. I honestly don't. That
Okay,
could
so
be
we have
a
no
couple
idea.
people. Yeah,
Nope.
that could be a couple
No
people.
clue.
So this person
What does
gave
Kronk
us...
have for us?
Yeah, so this person gave us about 7 questions. So the first
Oh.
one is, many people's lives are defined by happenstance or chance meetings that spiral into new careers, friendships, hobbies. What's a coincidence that changed your life for the better?
Oh, it's so general.
Well, I can give Joey some time to think.
Yeah,
because
go,
I
please.
have a very quick, very off the top of my head example.
Yeah,
So,
please.
when I met my best friend, we were both at a summer theater camp thing, and we weren't in the same dorm. We weren't in any of the same classes. We weren't on the same trips. We just weren't in the same social circles. So for us to meet would have taken a big coincidence on this. And the big coincidence in this case is that she had connected with another person at the camp. And I was trying to flirt with that person. I was trying to flirt with the person, very lovely individual, but there was a 4th of July party thing that was going on, and so I was, trying to spend time with this person, and she was also spending time with the person that would become my best friend. And then she had to leave, leaving just me and future best friend together without really knowing each other. and we still celebrate. That's the big thing I celebrate on the 4th of July is the beginning of our friendship when I did cheesy pickup lines on her, and we bonded over theater and books and all that stuff, and have been going strong ever since. But really, yeah, that was a coincidence that absolutely changed my life.
Hell yeah. Can I take a sort of contrarian answer to this?
Yes.
No, thanks, Rio. I always embrace happenstance and circumstance. I love finding stupid ways to bring people together, and so anytime I see something like that, I will take it. Met one of my really good friends because he was wearing he was like a barista at a coffee shop that I was always going to, and the coffee shop sucked, and but it was there, right? And he was wearing a band shirt that I liked, and we talked about it. And Golden, it was Alcest. I think you might know Alcest. They're kind of like post-rocky black metal stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we started talking about that, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll invite him to hang out, and that's just what happens, man. It just builds. I feel like that's kind of the impetus for CS2, right? Like the idea of an emergent community, when so many people have different interests and trying to cross-pollinate. I'm talking myself into a very cult-sounding corner, so sorry.
Cult skies.
Also, when you said CS2, I had been watching someone who played Cold Steel 2 recently, and I was like, how does that relate? It's like, oh, wait.
yeah, it just, it begins from the cliffhanger. And that's it. That's how we start. But yeah, we're a cult. I'm glad we got that out of the way this quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Mine is kind of a similar story to Rio a little bit, where when I took that musical trip over in Europe in 2015, 2016, I don't really talk to this friend that much anymore, ever since I moved away from Illinois. But at the time, we had gotten to know each other on the coach bus that we were on and stuff like that. And we had a pretty good vibe and stuff like that. But there was a part of me that also kind of was crushing on them a little bit. And near the end of the trip, I was like, well, they live super far away from me in Illinois. There's no way we're gonna stay friends and stuff like that afterwards. Despite what people usually say, oh yeah, we'll totally keep in touch with each other, blah 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 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to our hotel to drop something off, and I was like, well, they're kind of near the end of the trip, probably just gonna start backing off, or just kind of being general friendly but not too involved and stuff like that. And as I was thinking that, at the bottom of the stairs I see this person coming back up, and then that's when in my mind I was just like, nope, the universe has something different planned for me. And so we stayed pretty good friends after that for a good 4.5-ish years and stuff like that. So that was pretty good, and they were a really good friend during that time, very supportive while I was in university.
You guys and your trips with your clubs,
right,
and your events.
Speaking of events, that's a great segue into the next one. Oh, and I guess, does anyone have anything else to say on that one?
Oh, no.
Alrighty. That is a good segue to the next one, where the question is, there's a massive supply of great and potentially life-changing games that we'll never get around to. Is time spent hounding for trophies better spent exposing yourself to new experiences, or should we cherish the few works of art that truly resonate with us?
I don't think either of those answers is right. I feel like it has to be somewhere in the middle, man. I'm very centrist on this, right? I don't think if you're chasing the concept of exploring every single piece of good art in a medium, I think it's a fool's errand, and I don't know. The best you can do is hope for the most quality of experiences that you can, but sometimes you got to pick and choose there too. Sometimes it is quantity over quality, and there's something bad about that. If you're playing the Trails games, big issue of of quantity over quality, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the mood and sort of what's going on. But I think that you can get, if you want to get a bigger experience out of a game, specifically a game, I think it helps to maybe focus on something, maybe something extrinsic, trophies, some perceived achievement, playing along with a friend, something like that. I remember when I was playing through Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Soul on rn.soul, and I were chatting about it a lot, and that really made that experience a lot more rewarding to me because I'm deep diving into the game with a friend, and it's like a more fully rounded experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I don't know. I'm centrist on this one too. It's like,
Let's go, Libertarian podcast. Libertarian coffee talk. Let's fucking go. Now, I'm not even drinking coffee. You guys aren't either. I know it.
I am.
Oh, you are? Shit.
I actually have it for this episode.
You broke your head. Damn, okay.
Had to happen at some point. It's tricky for me because the way I view this question kind of goes into a little bit of how I play games in general, where it's just like I like to like if I find a genre that I like, I'll use bullet hell as an example. I'll explore the genre, right, and explore myself to new experiences and stuff like that. But so often enough, like my friends will find me in the with bullet hell going back to the exact same like 2 or 3 games because like that to me is just like what clicks with me. That's what I enjoy and stuff like that. Yeah, I could try out some of the games and the difficulties and stuff like that, but to me that's just what makes sense. And I think something similar
it's a genre
happens.
thing.
Yeah, it's
right?
It goes by genre. So I think for me, if this question is specifically about video gaming and stuff like that, I think it's genre specific. That's why I would keep myself in the center.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Rio, what about you, man? Because you're kind of like a correct me if I'm wrong, but you put a lot of attention into the things that you play, right?
I mean, yes and no. So I really do try to experience all that I can from a game. I want to be able to, if I'm going to talk about it just in general, and certainly for my channel, I want to be able to talk about the various things in the game. And that is part of my approach, but I don't really go beyond that. So a lot of the achievement trophy huntings, this was brought up when I was talking about in the RPG channel on Cerulean Sky's Discord, which you should definitely join if you are not part of. I was talking about the Replicant, which I just finished part 1 for, and I did every single side quest, and so I have a very good idea of what the side quest content is in the Replicant, and it's not good. It's not great.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played the first Nier. I played it for 360, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it was even worse then.
Oh yeah,
as opposed
it was horrendous
to now. But I'm probably not going to get even anywhere close to doing that number of side quests in part 2, because I've got the idea of what I have there, and I'm not looking for the platinum. I'm not looking for 100% achievements. That's not my that's not a big part of my experience. It's not something that motivates me to play games. It's just something that I'm like, it's there. It's fun when I get achievements, and that's it. So what I think with regards to this question is that it is really a personal thing. It depends. And I do tend to do a lot of different games and get deep enough into them for my own satisfaction and not beyond that. I very rarely replay games. I don't go for 100%. I literally can name the only 2 games that I have 100% of achievements on for Steam, and then the one game that I've played 100% of achievements on for Steam, and 1 platinum that I have for PS4.
Let it spill, brother.
Persona 5 Royal for PS4, and that's a pretty easy platinum to get.
Yeah, but it's still time. That's still like 100+ hour platinum if you're playing through it.
Yes, but I was going to be playing through that anyways. Pretty much the only thing that I had to do after I'd completed my just regular run through the game was go back and beat the Reaper. That was it.
Don't fear the Reaper, baby.
Yep. And then the second one, the one on Steam, is This Way Madness Lies, which is a Shakespeare Magical Girls RPG. And you just get all the achievements just by playing through the game. You don't need to do anything beyond that.
Interesting list. I want to address two things in the chat really fast. And Captain Howdy said that he played every ending of Drakengard, which should be like 7 platinums in and of itself, I think.
No.
That's fucked up, man. That is absolutely messed up. And also, I'm kind of straying from the point here, but I think it's something important to mention is that, like, I like trophies, sure. I like that extrinsic motivation, right? But that's not the sole thing that I like. That doesn't. It's not a guiding light. A really good example of this is Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered. I wanted to get the platinum. I got the platinum, but there are like 3 super bosses who are not tied to any trophies or achievements or unlocks that I really wanted to do because they were unbelievably difficult. And I did it because I was like, oh, I really want to check this out, and I want to see it. I don't give a shit about a trophy or not. It'd be cool if there was one. I still think they should have been one, but I think you have to ultimately play for yourself before you play for something like that arbitrary of a goal, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Ultimately, the answer to this question, I think, is it's personal, and you have to figure it out for yourself. And sometimes it might change. Sometimes it really is dependent on the game, but I don't think there is one specific answer.
Yeah, don't do what others do either, right? Because the way others play games, the way others treat media is not going to be the way you do it.
Yeah, and it's like it helps to find out, like, oh, this person likes to go through games because of this. Maybe I can consider that. Like, oh, Joey likes the trophy aspect. I wonder why. Let's explore that. Like, that's cool. But like, I think when people try to, there's a couple people I follow on Twitter, and I notice that they're kind of like, their interest in games is sort of budding, right? Like budding, not butting. Sorry, I just had sinus surgery.
Any of us thought it was.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm congested and I'm just But like there's a lot of people who are like who have these budding interests, and it seems like a big point of discourse there is to talk about games that they need to finish or that they need to play, that they need to play in a certain way, and it's like there shouldn't be some kind of checklist of things that you do before something else. Like Yaiko, for example, he likes to do stuff in a specific order. But he's pretty fluid. Like if something comes along, he'll change his mind, he'll change his plan. But he has an idea. He has like, oh, I want to play these hack and slash games first, and then I'll go into these. But like he can do that because he keeps his routine pretty rigid. And a lot of people can't. If you can't do that, don't stress yourself out about it. Like just fucking play what you want and have fun with what you're doing, and try to figure out what you like versus what maybe you could change about some of your habits, or maybe not change at all. Maybe you're a perfect little star. Like Rio's my perfect little star, except he might be a little too tall. Now that we know that.
Yes, this was the discovery.
He's a big boy star.
Sorry, didn't mean to eat up.
While I am tall, I am not big.
Big guy, Rio.
But yeah, sorry, Golden. I didn't mean to eat up more time on that question.
No, it's all good. Speaking of CS members in general, who in CS would give the best hugs? Assuming they aren't using the full brunt of their Australian strength or won't crumble you when you grasp their Floridan husk.
Oh, man. Frank Woodman at FLG, I think. Maybe
I would have said
Thomas.
Rio until I found out about the height.
Appreciate it. When we meet in person, I'll try and give a good hug, even if it's not the best.
I mean, I'm sure you still do, right? I'm sure you still do, but like with my perception, I was like, yeah, I could be face to face with this guy, no problem.
Yeah, I would say that. I think those are my. Thomas, probably a good hugger.
By the way, was that a question from the forum or
Yeah.
just you?
No, it's
okay.
part. Yeah, it's the same person too.
Same one. So that's Kronk.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna go with Ringo.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Why is Blanca green? Please give your best theories.
Brazil, the color of the Brazil flag. Actually, that's a question for Tony in the chat. Why is Blanca green? I know it was like the experiments or whatever, but But he's not always green though. He's sometimes yellow, off green, olive. That's no. Do you have an answer? Guess not.
No, I don't.
Yeah, we'll have to deter to the Street Fighter movie. When you fall out of a plane as a human child into the rivers of Brazil, you obviously turn green. Yeah, also go swimming in the Chicago River could also do it.
Oh, so he was there during St. Patty's Day. Got it.
Yeah. No, not even. It's still green.
No, okay,
It's just
yeah.
a different green during St. Patty's Day.
What's an instance where your life flashed before your eyes?
This morning.
No. I mean, it was
no
really
joke.
cold. Yeah.
So like I said, I just got sinus surgery and I can't really breathe out of my nose super well right now. And it was negative 17 degrees when I went outside. So I couldn't really breathe through my mouth because if I breathe through my mouth, it's going to fog out my glasses. So I was like halfway to the store and I like started getting extremely lightheaded and kind of like drowned out for a second. And I'm like, oh, that's it. I live, I die. Close it out, boys. Rio, you ever come face to face with death? You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
So closest that's probably happened is not one I actually remember because I was too young. Had fluid in my lungs. They had to take me to emergency room to get it out. Yeah, scary thing. But again, I have absolutely no recollection on that, so not really anything I can say on that.
Mine is when I visited India 10 years ago, I almost got hit by a bus driving down a hill.
Fuck. India buses hit different, bro.
They sure do. They sure do.
Damn.
It's funny because I was at a town that was like basically their main thing was their temple. So, I wasn't too far off from, the great beyond.
Damn, dude. I for some reason I thought you would have had the least brushes with death. I don't know why. I just assumed this.
No. I mean, that trip alone, I got injured and just like, I went to shit so much during that trip. I probably should have actually lost an eye during that trip. I just cracked my head open, and then I got hives the very next day. Then a week and a half later, I almost get by that bus. So I don't know.
I love that Afro Man song that's like, and then I got hives.
And then I got hives,
how the fuck did you crack your head open?
I was at a bachelor party for my cousin's wedding, and it was a pool party. I slipped, flipped up into the air, and came back down. I tried saving myself by putting my shoulder out, but that didn't really work, so I ricocheted my head into the ground, and I was maybe like 4 or 5 inches away from like the pool side, so I probably could have just like popped an eyeball right there, but instead I cracked my head open, so I had to get stitches.
God, man, you would have had my vision then. You hate to
Legit.
see it, literally.
I would have been one-eyed Goldie.
Change that turtle.
Change
Put a
that
patch on
turtle.
that
It
eye.
would have an eye patch, of course.
Yeah, there it is. That's the origin.
I mean, the black glasses could have still been there, but yeah, it definitely could have had the,
Damn.
What aspect of your culture are you most proud of? Wow, topical.
You go first. You were just talking about India.
food, the camaraderie. I mean, I was just there actually. That's why I was on break for a few weeks. For those who didn't see the few times I mentioned it. But yeah, I was in India for a couple of weeks. There's just something really cool about like the way, especially like where I'm from and stuff like that. There's like this like brotherhood camaraderie between just even across like, you know, males, females, or whatever, right? Like it's very different to here, where it's like there still is like this brotherhood and general friendship and stuff like that people have here, but like there's also this like relative distance that people have here in the States, because there's very much still that culture of just like keep to yourself. I have my house over here, and then down the hill is someone else's house, and we're gonna keep it that way. But over there it's just like you're pretty much on top of each other 24/7, and that's like a totally normal thing. I had a coworker tell me, he was like, yeah, like I was very surprised to find out that just like it's very common for people to like, you know, share beds and like share bedrooms and stuff like that over there. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, people like 4 or 5 people will cram into a room, and like people do that here in like college because they have to. People over there do it because they either want to, or like that's just kind of the thing. Like you just got to do it because there's no other room to do and stuff like that. So it's just like a very common thing. Versus here, there's like a little bit of awkwardness. Like if you, let's just say you're at like a school event, right, and you go camping, and like you have to share a bed, like unless you're really good friends with that person, there's a little bit of awkwardness that comes into play.
Yeah, I think brown people in general just, you know, because Assyrians are like that too. We, you know, cousins always sleep in the same room, and like you share a bed with your bros and whatever. And it's like, I feel like, I mean, not to say that it's not awkward, but like it's so much easier to deal with that kind of stuff when you're just more used to kind of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just to me, I like being able to turn that on and off, right? To be able to be like, oh, I can do this. It doesn't bother me. Like personal space doesn't really bother me unless somebody's like sick or coughing or, you know, just obtrusive. Then it sucks. But and to answer the question fuller, I think in terms of my culture, I think just like the unbelievable perseverance and tenacity of us. Like we don't have a nation. We can trace our genetic history back further than almost any other ethnicity. It's fucking insane. Like I know like hundreds, if not thousands of years of my family lineage, despite like a lot of that stuff being in records that most of my family can't even read or write physically. But I think that comes with a little bit of, I guess, obstinance, sticking too closely to the past. But I don't know. So like it's one of those things where it's like hard to find the middle ground for, because the centrist, the libertarian aspect comes in, and it's like, well, if you do, one of the reasons why we had this perseverance is because we stuck so closely to it. So if you try to pull that away now, you know, it's kind of hard.
Right.
But the modern world is testing, man.
Very true.
Well,
Rio,
I'm
what you got?
really not sure on this. I am white, very white, with a lot of different, but not any one dominant like culture that I come from. So I don't know, maybe just the mixture of those and just how they came to be in my family. So stuff like, okay, why do we have pierogies and kielbasa a lot of the time? Oh, that's the Polish eighth showing up there. Why does my mom say pacha tute and pacha pojka to people? Well, that's the Finnish part there, saying we're bad boys and girls, and you know, stuff like that. And I think the history part also plays in a little bit, because my family has a pretty long history, specifically in the U.S. As in, my grandparents have a certificate from the U.S. government for keeping the farm in the family since the birth of the U.S. Constitution, and they got that a while back, so it's even more time since then. It had it for nearly 250 years now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Legacy farm.
So it's aspects of that, but it is always, tempered by the fact that there's still a lot I don't know, and if you don't necessarily know too much on your history, especially if you have been in the US for a while, I'm just not sure how good the stuff would be that I would end up looking at if I tried to research.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to consider your personal culture too, like the culture that you literally cultivate in your own home and like among your own friends too. I think a big part of that is, at least for me, I'd like to think I'm progressive, right? I think there's a lot about things that we can change in the world socially and culturally and economically and whatever. But I try to, perpetuate that idea and those beliefs among people with whom I interact with a lot. So I'm proud of that too, like the ability to like be in this shithole country and also be able to like find solidarity with other people. And I think that goes without, because I think when people hear that question, they automatically think stuff like, oh, food, music, and parties. And I feel like culture is so much more than all that. But let me tell you something, brother. You want to learn about a culture, you go to an authentic restaurant of that culture. Let me tell you, that's the way you do it.
Gotta find a hole in the wall.
Yeah. And Seth, what do you mean by your family are cultural? Just like in terms of beliefs, like belief systems or thoughts, like, because I mean, I said parties and I kind of like sort of criticized the concept of parties, and Golden brought this up, but the idea of closeness and having events just to have them, like when my family hangs out, there's like, 10 people in a room. It's not weird. You just keep piling them on, man. And it's kind of like the Discord call that we were doing earlier. Funny enough, is that like, you have like 12 people in a call, and sometimes people step out for a bit. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just stop in just to say hey. And I think that that's like an aspect of American culture that doesn't really exist. I mean, it kind of does it in the Midwest, right? Right, Golden? Like a little bit?
Oh, yes. Midwest is its own thing. Yeah, I had the Midwest goodbyes. You can't leave, but like, Midwest, cultures, Midwest parties. Yeah.
Bro, it happens on
I
Discord
need to be
all
able
the
to
time.
leave. I need to be able to leave in a timely manner. This is why I'm in New England.
But you know what though? Like, okay, there's a sweet spot there too, where you can have your Midwest goodbye, but you can also end it at any time. It's a punctuated Midwest goodbye. That's what you need. Oh, they speak Maori and they embrace a lot of traditions, items pertaining to party. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a thing, isn't it? Yeah, interesting. And Seth, from like, you're obviously Maori, but you're not like, like it doesn't seem like that kind of stuff is as prevalent in your life from what I've seen. Oh yeah, dude, fuck it. I'm the oldest in my family too. So, oof. That is an overbearing privilege.
Side note.
But yeah, and
I think I might have just beaten the game. Because it seems like credits.
Okay. Quick, we need you approved for Coffee Talk 2.
I mean, is it out yet?
not yet. Wait,
It's not out yet. But it is on some of the sites that I go to for getting game keys. So.
Hibiscus and butterfly.
All right, well, I'll figure it out. Continue on with what you were saying.
No, that's it. We could do the next question.
No, sorry. This only lasts as long as Coffee Talk lasts.
Yeah, sorry guys, we gotta call it.
Yep. Oh yeah, there's credits. Well, shit. I thought this game was longer. Although I guess
mean, you have done 10
20 hours.
episodes
I have, yeah,
on this.
Yeah.
that's true.
We'll just play it again, man.
Yeah, I'll
That's
just
all we gotta
restart
do.
the game. Just let go in the background.
It's just nice background.
Does this game have a hard mode?
Please, no, it's already hard enough as is.
If you think that you have played Coffee Talk on any difficulty but extremely hard, you've never played a video game.
Oh, good
They
lord.
actually do the difficulty modes off of coffee names in there and how difficult the coffee is to make.
Yeah. They're it starts actually giving you quizzes.
Oh no.
You have to be barista certified to beat this game. I got this though. I'll carry on.
Who's the worst person you love? This is to weed out the Kanye stans, apparently.
Oh,
Worst person?
my parents.
I
Easy.
love.
That's
What?
so easy. Yeah. No. Yep. But I don't have anything else to. I think that speaks for itself.
Who do I love that's like a bad person?
I mean, I don't think that ultimately the people I love are bad people. There are some who I believe, because of their leanings and beliefs, are probably doing more harm in the world than good. But yeah, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure I want to call out particular family members.
No,
on
full
this.
names, bro. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. It's not my immediate family. My immediate family is wonderful. It would be extending out from there. And me, oh, thank you, Coffee Talk.
Wow.
That's literally my whole family. What about you, Golden?
I have no clue. I don't really.
Post-credit scene.
Is it Raph? I think your answer is Raph.
Sure. For the sake of having something, sure.
Yeah, hell yeah, Raph going under the bus.
Oh man. How are you an ally? Better answer quick.
I was blowing my nose. That just shows you how. I think just being aware, supporting cause, like correcting people when they say something fucking stupid, just listening, talking, like I'll always come to the defense of anyone who I think, like somebody is treating unfairly. I know that's like super selfish in a way, but like, and sort of self-motivated, but I don't know. I feel like you can use that driving force for good.
All right, Rio. How are you an ally?
I think that it is by continuing to listen and learn to people in groups that are not of my my identity, and just trying to lift them up as much as possible. I work in education, and I work in a position that thankfully allows me to pick and work with students to develop leadership skills. And I have been fortunate that I have been able to work with a lot of wonderful people. Every single person that I am currently working with does not match my identity. They are either not white, not male, or not cisgender. And I think that by lifting them up, I am doing some work, but it's also certainly not me that gets to say whether I am a good ally or not.
Right.
Oh, of course, yeah. And it's always a power dynamic thing too, right? Like if you're considered like a status quo, you automatically have that advantage, that leverage sort of built in. And it's like, to me, that it shouldn't even be about like trying to lift people up necessarily. It should just be like that's just sort of like what you do, right? And not saying that's not a criticism on you at all. Just something in general. I think that like too often there is this onus on the the onus on the ally. This is my autobiography, and it's like you're just a force. You know, you're just like an essence, and like it's there's not really like a if you start putting too much of that onus on a singular person or even a dominant group, you know, it starts to become like to diminish the voices of others, if this makes sense. And I think, you know, sometimes people could also put so much of a positive bias toward other groups that they either don't understand or don't have any interaction with just because they're different. And to me, that is, I mean, yeah, functionally, that's probably better than not. Than the inverse of like treating someone like shit because you don't know them. Of course, obviously it's better than that. But I do think that there is an element of otherness that you're intentionally creating there, instead of just, you know, like Rio said, you know, he said, I actively try to understand, I try to listen. And I think that aspect kind of is understated a lot.
Just being there, you know, and like showing that support just can go such a long way.
When we close ourselves off, that's when you just can't be a good ally in that case, in my opinion. If you close yourself off to new people, new experiences, all that stuff.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's
with
a good
that.
question.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
What's a little known game that deserves more hype? Oh, well, allow me to tell you about a little known franchise known as Ape Escape.
I knew it.
There it is.
It's either that or Custom Robo. Y'all have heard me talk about that for ages, and I'm gonna die on that hill.
Are we going to hear more on that? I thought we were going to hear more about Ape Escape.
Yeah, I was ready for the custom robo dump.
I wanted to go back to the main menu. There's an endless mode. What's endless mode?
Yeah, I was actually going to point that out before you
just
started the new
Free
game.
brew or
challenge mode. See, there's the hard mode.
No, hold on. I don't want to think. I need to just like sit there and listen to
just
me.
press button.
Free brew. Okay.
No! Okay, back to menu. Can I just like sit here
Streamer
and
rage during coffee talk. I love it.
extras? Hold on. Gallery comic. Oh no.
Achievements, bro. Where are your achievements? Come on.
Well, while Gold is figuring this out, I can talk. But honestly, I don't really have a lot that I couldn't just go. This game, just watch my video on it. This game, just watch this video on it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I could start with This Way Madness Lies tonight, since I already talked about it. It's a really tightly constructed RPG, lots of deep, different aspects in the combat. If you are into Shakespeare at all, it's all of the main cast are Shakespeare heroines, but modernized. And it's a good time, and also has the allusions to magical girl anime stuff. But again, tightly constructed. This is a game that just goes and goes and goes until the end. It's not a graphically incredible game. It's a pixel art game. It's by Zeboid Games, who also did Cosmic Star Heroine.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed my time with it, and there are plenty of other games that are similarly underlooked. And if you check out the channel, you'll find out more about them. Because there are other games I could talk about that I know are generally underrated, but for Cerulean Skies, if I brought up East, that's not that's not an unknown game.
I think mine is Fury. F-U-R-I. It was an action game. It's somewhere between like a twin stick shooter, a fighting game, and a like almost DMC character action game. It's all boss rush, but Basically, you know, there's a big story segment. You walk up to a boss, you fight the boss. Each boss has a couple forms. So there's like a continuity. It's not. I think a lot of people were turned off by that aspect, but it might be more relative to people now. But it's super good. Really fun game. It's challenging. It has a really unique art style. The story is very, like, striking. And it's like, it's not super spoon-feedy. It's just a really good-ass game. It's a good-ass video game. It's solid. The controls are solid. It's very reactive. Different kinds of play styles, different ways to play the bosses. It's really good. A parry mechanic, as a PERRY mechanic, as Hiko said. Music is really good. It's like a compilation of a bunch of synthwave and IDM artists.
Heck yeah.
Carpenter Brute on there.
Oh, the music for This Way Madness Lies is also really good. Like, unexpectedly great.
Seth says Moonlighter. I still haven't played that. I heard that was good.
That's the you run a shop and do dungeon exploring in between to collect items for the shop.
Oh, like
haven't played it. It's like Reciteer, but a little more involved.
Yeah, Mikhail recommended to you, Hiko.
Y'all ready for the Ape Escape shell?
Yeah, let's go, man. Come on.
All right, so Ape Escape, revolutionary game, right? Came out in the 90s, Ape Escape 1, to promote the dual stick, dual shock new controller. Freaking cool game, let me tell you. The whole concept of the game is apes are out on the loose, and you gotta go capture them. And that's pretty much the whole concept for the entire game. But no, genuinely, it is something that I grew up with, but I still adore even to this day for a small handful of reasons. One of them being that it's a different enough control scheme that every time I replay it, I had to get used to it for like 5 minutes, but once I have it, it's weirdly intuitive, and I love it so much because like so many games have like the same control scheme and stuff like that, and I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it actually is, but it's one of those minor things that like once you play it, it's like, well, this feels kind of different, this feels kind of cool, right? And it's like, oh yeah, you know, like game take risk, great. Another reason is just the sense of like, it's kooky, but like it's kooky enough where it's like as you're playing it and you get into that gameplay loop of like running around different levels, listening to the music, trying out different gadgets and capturing monkeys, you just kind of get into the sense of like relaxation, you know, like, yeah, you know, things are just really chill. And because there's nothing too complicated about it, there's no special message that Ape Escape is trying to send, there's no cutting edge like graphics that it's trying to prove, you know, it's not trying to be something grandiose for anybody, nor is it trying to, you know, top anybody's like Twitter charts and stuff like that. But in that, if you sit down and just play Ape Escape, I think most people will find that it's just a very relaxing, fun game, even though it can come off as very childhood or like, you know, very kiddie and stuff like that, which, I mean, you know, that's a common argument that video games always get, right? But at the same time, it just hits a platformer, a collectathon platformer, what's the word? Feeling.
Banjo-Kazooie, but good?
Honestly, yes. I would strongly recommend Ape Escape over Banjo-Kazooie. I would recommend many things.
I would,
you know, for Ape Escape, just because it has a lot of stuff. Is the Ape Escape PSP remake any good? Not really. I would just say emulate PS1, or I think it's already out on the PS5 backwards compatibility thing. But Ape Escape 1 is like super special too, because like it hits that like 90s like liquid drum and bass feeling, and it's like, whoa, this is like some freaky, you know, like crazy shit out here, like weird levels. Like there's a monkey and a T-Rex at one point that you gotta go catch, and it's like, yeah, dude, that's the 90s, and it's like hitting that like like with music filled with like drum and bass and stuff like that, which you really just don't hear anymore. And I'm like, I swear to God, can we please just get a full like EDM liquid drum and bass soundtrack again? That would be freaking amazing. Spark's game, Spark the Jester, actually does that in Spark 3, and I'm like, yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
Dude, those early CD-based games, especially for Saturn and PS1, had so many soundtracks that were fucking groovy like that.
Legit.
I mean, even like city pop, EDM, liquid drum and bass. Like, there's so many good games during that time that that's just like a lost art. You can't bring that back anymore, man.
You really, really can't. And I guess like the last thing I really will say about Ape Escape is that it's while it is comforting, it is still like different enough as a platformer that like I think everyone should experience it at least once in their lifetime. Whether it be Ape Escape 1, emulating PS1 or playing on the PS5. Ape Escape 2 I know is out on the PS Store. That's a pretty popular one. And one day Ape Escape 3 will make it out there somewhere. Or they'll remaster it. Probably not, but I would love to see it. It's just good fun. So if you can, give it a shot.
I haven't played it in a long time. It's been a minute.
I replayed the trilogy just in the last year.
It's so funny thinking of Golden as the Ape Escape poster boy.
Yeah?
I don't know why. It's just like it's sort of off kilter for you, and not in a bad way. Like it's cool. I don't know.
It's different, yeah. It's either that or I'll just go into a long tangent of why we need more games like Custom Robo, and Armored Core is finally getting a 6th game. Even though I've never played Armored Core, I'm happy that it is getting a 6th game because that's like the closest thing to Custom Robo that we get.
Yeah, Custom Robo is basically sort of Nintendo-ized Armored Core. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Virtual On plus Armored Core is the way I've always seen Custom Robo.
Yep. And Nintendo is doing themselves a great big disservice by not making a brand, getting somebody. I don't know if the studio that made some of them exists anymore, but whatchamacallit, they're doing themselves a disservice by not getting a studio to either just port stuff over to the Switch or just make a game for the Switch, because that's kind of like a great platform for that.
Yeah, I don't know what else they did. I know that they did the Custom Robo games and probably something.
I'm looking it up.
I don't know. Was it Noise?
Noise, yeah.
Yeah, it's Noise, and they really didn't do a lot that wasn't Custom Robo. They did Koragashi Puzzle Katamari Damacy, Japan only.
Okay, interesting.
And then Hoshi no Dragon Quest.
Yeah,
phones.
they were really just small games that they did.
But a studio like HAL Laboratory could probably do something.
I think so. Anyone could really do it. I mean, there was Synaptic Drive, and attempted an indie game version of that. I'll eventually stream that and give my I guess semi-pro opinion on Custom Robo, because not a lot of people make Custom Robo content.
Don't downgrade yourself.
Fine, I'll give my professional opinion as a Custom Robo connoisseur of Synaptic Drive.
Custom Robo slut.
Maybe on
Cerulean
Spaz
spiritual successors for Ape Escape.
I get it. That's not something you can really make an indie game version of, but man, like, just fight PETA, man. Just fight it. Just someone, catch alligators or something. I don't know. Like, don't worry about PETA. Like, just make indie game, please. Tangle Deep. Interesting.
Oh yeah, I remember him talking that game up. I want to check it out. Tangle Deep.
Any fictional role models y'all have? And this is actually a brand new question by user Nox.
The overused render of Reen Schwarzer.
Dude, yes.
Schwarzer.
My boy Reen.
I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't idolize fictional characters. I'm way too fucking cool.
Haha is love. Haha is life.
I mean, I agree with Joey. There's not really any like a character in there. There are certainly like aspects of different characters that I would like to be able to get to that level. But I can't point to a particular character and I'm like, yes, you are my goal or whatever on there.
Yeah, Hiko's reframing the question to be if you found, at least you could, or say it, what character have you found most inspirational? But I feel like your answers would mostly be the same.
Yeah, mine wouldn't change at all. I don't think that would change it. I mean, you know, you're always a fictional character. This is stupid. Maybe I'm too fatalistic. A fictional character is always created. You know, there's always something ideal in there, and I kind of chafe at that concept. There's definitely been like, you know, plot points in games or character moments where I'm like, oh, I really like that character, but like only on like a kind of indulgent way. I don't know. Maybe I've killed my idols too much. Who knows? Difficult to say.
I'll
But the
answer
is the 8 from Ape Escape.
the 8 from Ape
Golden,
Escape.
have you got thoughts?
I'll answer it this way. Rather than them being role models, I will say that JRPG protagonists were the reason why I started running / jogging in the first place when COVID came about. I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and like COVID had like just started, or yeah, about just started and stuff like that, and as a result, my general activity I wasn't already that active anyway during university, and I was like trying to find ways to get back into it now that I had a full-time job and stuff like that. But of course, when the pandemic started, that was much harder to do, given that a lot of stuff was closed. And I was just like observing Cloud's running animation, stuff like that, and I got to thinking that like if these random bumfuck like, you know, farmer dudes and just like people who like have no reason being protagonists sometimes can run around an entire city, then like surely I can too, right? So like that's kind of what got me started on like my jogging journey and stuff like that.
Damn, this man saw Simon Belmont's calves and was like, I will be that. I will have that. Climbing stairs. Well, that's really interesting, Golden. I never would have guessed that from you. I think there's something like comforting about the typical cookie cutter JRPG protagonist, though. Like to do good just because you want to do good. I think Rex from Xenoblade 2 is a good example of this. Terrible character, I hate him, but he does embody that like very important quintessential JRPG protagonist attitude. And I don't think that's always a bad thing, but like. Yeah, I don't know. Like, sometimes that is a little inspirational in its own sense. The comfortability of something like that. I don't know. That's the closest to an answer I can give you. I'm sorry.
Different characters hit differently in different times in there, but there are, and again, I have talked a fair amount about probably my favorite video game characters in videos, but I'm not going to say that Leah is an inspiration, but she's a lot of fun. And the way that she overcomes conflict is one that I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'd like to be able to do that, and I'm impressed that she's able to, even with her limitations. And yeah, I think it's watching the characters navigate difficulties and solve problems that would inspire me to work to do the same in my own life.
I will piggyback off of that and say Stock from Radiant Historia.
Yes, Stock is a great character.
Like, holy crap. Like, the way that man, and the way he's written, too, so, like, his approach to adversity, right? Like, he's so, like, level-headed among many things. Even when he's not level-headed, he's able to, like, bring himself back, like, by, like, you know, low-key relying on, you know, his friends and stuff like that. But, like, being thrown into that situation of time travel, going back and forth and, like, seeing what he's, you know, what he's seen, it's just, like, the way, like, the fact he's still able to make those decisions and, like, navigate all of that is just bloody impressive.
Bloody impressive.
Bloody impressive, eh? While we're on the
Oh,
topic.
Hiko's answer is Radiant Historia for underrated game, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is an underrated game. That should be Atlas's next port to PC and Switch.
Hey man, if the Alliance Alive can get a port within less than a year to Steam on HD, surely Radiant Historia can as well.
It should be able to, but just don't have a lot of faith. Do you remember when those sales charts were going around for people trying to show how bad Soul Hackers 2 ended up doing? Well, the thing that I noticed in all of those charts is that Radiant Historia was right at the bottom. And I felt so much pain seeing that. Because, and I played and enjoyed Soul Hackers 2, but they don't deserve to be in the same conversation. Radiant Historia is just so much better of a game.
Yeah. I think it just was an unfortunate thing of it came, like Perfect Chronology came near the end of the 3DS life cycle, as much like the Alliance Alive did. Somehow the Alliance Alive did better, well enough to get that HD port, or they somehow got enough money, but I don't know. I guess the Atlas probably was just like, well, we gave you the 3DS version, what more do you need?
Radiant Historia shits all over Alliance Alive in every fucking
They're two different types
way.
of games.
I know, but okay, apples are different than oranges, but you can still prefer apples, right? Like,
Yes.
if given the opportunity, I'll take an apple over an orange usually.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I don't know. But and I say that as a huge Saga fan too. No, Radiant Historia is really good. I haven't played Perfect Chronology yet, though. I've only played the original release, so I have it. I just haven't played.
I played
remake.
Perfect Chronology.
I played Perfect Chronology, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know if it was enough of an addition to warrant all that, but you know, it's nice to have the extra stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the extra stuff they did was pretty neat, minus a couple of the missions that were like batshit impossible, but hey, you know, the boss was cool.
But so that was the game that the old portraits are in the game. They're just DLC or something, right?
Yeah.
Am I
you pay like
confusing that?
$2 or $3.99 for him?
So weird, man. That's goofy. It's fucking goofy.
I like
That
the
is. I did not know that, actually. I knew that the old portraits weren't, that they'd gone to new portraits between DS and 3DS, but I was never interested enough in the old portraits to look at what they did with them.
Wow, guess you're not a connoisseur of art.
I don't mind the old
Sure.
portraits. I just think stock looks much better in the new version, and that's pretty much it.
That sounds like a what do you call it? Like a similar issue that Strange Journey had, where all the new redesigns for Strange Journey were kind of dookie, and kind of the reason why I haven't played that version of the game yet. I don't mind streamlining that much though, especially with like a remaster or whatever, because especially when you can play the original version on the same console, right? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try Radiant or Perfect Chronology. Kelly hasn't played it ever, and I think she would like it a lot. It's like something between, like, I don't know, Chrono Trigger and Lost Odyssey maybe, but not as mid as Lost Odyssey. So love to see it. Maybe even a little bit of Bravely Default too.
A little bit. Yeah. If you existed as an NPC, what quest would you give out? And this was a question submitted by John Gotham.
It's a good question. What would I give out? I think I would give out the end game, the post game or end game quest that's way too hard for you originally.
Can
we'll
I
make you
answer
grind.
for Joey? He would give out the troll quest.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a troll. I
know.
like memeing, but I'm not a. I feel like I'd give a stupid, ridiculous end game quest. I think. Press you, put you on your toes. I don't know. What about you, Golden? What do you got, Mr. NPC?
Deep in the jungle lies a golden tata. Go and retrieve his shell.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
I see. Actually, that's good. No, I
Mhm.
think you have a super boss quest too, Golden. I think yours would be to. I think you have the super boss quest. Hiko would be a. All right, who would be the fetch quest? Who would give the fetch quest? Somebody in CS. Raph. It'd be Raph. Because Raph would be like. Raph would give the fetch quest to like. Test resolve.
Ringo would join you.
Yeah. Ringo's an escort quest. But a good one, not a shitty one.
Franny would be the go beat him up quest.
Ooh, yeah. And Kelly says also that Raph, you think that he's trolling you, but then you unlock an ability. It's like a hidden ability locked behind a fetch quest. A benign fetch quest. That's a good question, John Gotham.
Yeah.
What about you, John Gotham?
But is John Gotham even here?
I don't think I think he's working on his tile in his home, but he'll listen to it eventually.
But anyway, for me, I think I have to go off of the education theme, and either I would be the one where the protagonist becomes a teacher for the moment, or I'm the one that's quizzing them.
Oh,
Ooh, that's a good one.
yes.
Yeah, that's a really good one, Rio. I see that.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
You know what?
I run trivia nights every week. Well, not now that the kids are gone, but so I'm used to quizzing people.
Quizzo!
Soul's answer. All right, who's giving out the tutorial quest? Because I almost want to say Golden, but I don't mean that in a bad way at all. Because you're like very well spoken, you're direct and succinct, and I think that is important in giving out the tutorial quest, and also knowledgeable. Lifting up my short king. Rio, you don't get any of this because you're not as short as I thought, so only Golden gets lifted.
That's fine. I can see well enough from up here.
Oh!
Oh no. What?
Oh, man.
What happened?
Just the way Rio said that. Anywho. So this next one is one of the doozies. But I really, really like what this person did. There's no username. They decided to remain anonymous, which is perfectly okay. But thank you, whoever wrote this, if you're listening or hear this in the future or submitting your question. Once I do a horrible job of latte art, they really need to work on this for Coffee Talk
It's
too.
a mean cloud.
It's whatever here. Here's your green tea latte, bro. So
Golden's cafe experience just came out right there. You all saw it.
I never
This
did
man
latte
had
art.
enough.
I never did it. My manager tried so hard. I'm like, bro, here's a leaf. And good luck. It's going in cups that have lids anyway. I don't think they care. All right. So, do you think it's valid to view online relationships, friends or romantic, as lesser? What do you personally think? Do you think there are problems with someone's closest relationships being solely online?
No. I mean, well, okay, I think it says okay, if all your relationships are relationships that you forged online, what is the context of your life? You know, like if you grew up in a rural area and you never really kind of left it, that makes sense, right? And like it's whatever. Or maybe you live out in the boonies, or there's some kind of practical, logical reason why you don't, then I don't, whatever. But I think that like if that's the only way that you can make friends, I think and forge relationships, I think that's sort of stunted in a way, because you're always presenting your best self, right? Like your online persona is always a curated persona. It's always like gonna be something that you've refined and worked on, and you can work at behind the scenes without anyone seeing you. And I don't think that's always a bad thing. I mean, I think we do that with everything in life. Any of our personal or social interactions are always governed by the curtain of society, But
Yeah.
I think meeting people online I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I mean, I met my partner of 7 years on the internet. But like, well, a dating app, but it's the internet, right? It can be, I guess.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing at all with that. I just think that, like, if that is like your primary and only way, but like also, again, it's practical. If you like playing games with people, it's a lot harder to find people IRL to play games with unless you're playing like local fighting games or, being really active. And, I love people. I love interacting with people. I am not extroverted at all.
Yep.
I get nothing out of like I like talking to people, but when I feel stressed, I want to just like lie down and do my own thing. I don't want to talk to anybody. And so like that would be hard for me if that was my only way of making friends, right? But yeah, Kelly says her master's thesis is on this, and if you're only seeing your confidants online, it is highly correlated with loneliness, except when you're involved in an online game. Interesting.
Yeah,
You
that
got-
is
yeah,
fascinating. Very good details from Kelly in there. I'd like to address the first part of the question, I think, which was whether online friendships are lesser than IRL ones. And see, I'm kind of two minds on this. For most of my life, I would have just outright just said yes. That's mainly because that's my experience. It's only in the past year, maybe even a little more than that I feel like I've actually made online connections that I could call friends, that actually were just had the same tone or same details that I get from IRL friends. Now, I am kind of in this situation that Joey talked about of a very rural area right now, which is part of the reason why I am looking at not being here much longer, which means that even for my IRL friends, I have been needing to use text and voice chat and various stuff to maintain that connection. And that's why I think my answer is kind of changed, because it is so necessary in our current world to maintain a lot of connections. And I do feel that more, that it's not lesser, but it is different. It is different to be friends with Golden when I have no idea what Golden looks like. It's kind of weird to be friends with Golden and Joey when they are surprised that I am tall. This is literally the first thing that people see about me.
Yeah.
That is, I meet people, and that is easily 9 out of 10 times that's the first thing that's mentioned about me as a person. And so it's certainly different.
Yeah.
But if we take the time and we do the work that friendships require, actual friendships, then they are not lesser. But I think that because of the ease of connection, some people skip a lot of the things that I think are necessary for proper friendships and just assume that because you talk a lot that you are friends. And that's
or
very
you share
easy
a hobby.
online.
Yeah, or you share a hobby and all of a sudden you're best friends, and it's like, yeah, that can forge ahead, but like you need to, there's more to that. There's a bit of an effort to there, and you are kind of getting you're touching on the concept of like social bandwidth, and that's also a thing too. You only have so much time in your day and so much conversational and social ability, period. Being online is completely overwhelming, on Discord, on Twitter, on social media, whatever. It's hard. It's just practically and economically more difficult to forge closer connections like that, for sure. But at the same time, I kind of want to circle back to something I said earlier about like presenting your best self online or whatever. And that being said, I don't think that like meeting somebody in real life or hanging out in real life is necessarily the end game or the best possible scenario of hanging out. Sometimes it can be, sometimes it can't. But like I know a lot of people, or I've met a lot of people who like think they're a lot better to hang out with IRL than talk to like just passively or on the internet. That's not true. And that being said, and this is an arrogant statement, sure, I have never once been surprised by somebody's IRL presence after knowing them online. I think people leave a lot. I mean, I know a dude who was catfishing people. That guy sucks. But like, apart from that, that's my exception. But like, I think that so much personality does bleed through if you are at least slightly active on the internet. And it's easy to read that and extrapolate on that. Sometimes people struggle with it, but that struggle speaks volumes sometimes. That's all I got.
Yeah, active and to a certain degree authentic, because people aren't really going to be authentic, but if you do put some authenticity into what you're putting out there on the internet, it's a lot easier. So that is how the catfishing does not factor in, because that is not authentic.
No, yeah, totally. Golden, what about you? How do you feel about this?
So, I'm going to answer this slightly differently. I'm going to put most of my emphasis on the part where it talks about romantic relationships, because I think you guys said pretty much everything I ever could about like just friendships on its own, which was awesome. But so if we think about it from romantic relationships, I mean, of course, like, you know, Joey said he met, you know, his partner on dating apps. That's online. But I want to keep this strictly to like Discord and like forums and stuff like that when I'm talking about romantic relationships for the next couple of minutes here. Are they lesser? No, absolutely not, right? You know, love is love. Love knows no bounds. People go across the world, you know, to meet their partners and stuff like that, or, you know, fall in love and whatnot and stuff like that. So, you know, definitely never think that, you know, it's lesser and stuff like that. That being said, though, I think it gets tricky for me to say like what I personally think about this, because on one hand, you know, I'm very supportive about, you know, lots of these things. As Joey said, you know, you present your best self and stuff like that. But Storm actually brought up a point that, you know, that they're seeing more IRL people again, and, you know, it was kind of filling a need that was missing. And when it comes to relationships, it gets really tricky in my opinion, because humans are still in a way, they're inherently outwardly social creatures, and to that degree also animalistic as well, in that we really enjoy physical connectivity, even if that means seeing people and stuff like that. And so I guess like the point I'm trying to make with this is that on one hand, I think it's great, you know, if you are able to find someone online, get to know them, fall in love, and things work out. That's great. But I also hesitate with that, because in my like 6-some years on Discord and stuff like that, I've seen it more than a handful of times where two people will start, they'll start chatting and they realize they have a vibe with each other. They'll move to DMs. They find out that, you know, they have romantic relations, you know, romantic interest with each other. Things start clicking off very well. They enter an online relationship, and then somewhere along the way, something happens because they realize that their IRL self is not what they wanted in a partner and stuff like that. And then, you know, that leads to issues and stuff like that. So it's weird. It's tricky. That was a whole ramble and stuff like that. But
no. I think that you brought it, because I was speaking more so like just like a friendship, and you know, I think I wasn't delving too deeply in the romantic side of things, and I think you brought a really unique aspect to it. I think it depends. I mean, obviously, all these answers are contextual, right? And I think it depends on what the person's values are. The problem is that when you meet people online, sometimes you don't know what your values are. You think you do.
yeah.
But like, I mean, you can think that, oh, I want somebody who shares my hobbies. And yeah, I mean, that's probably true. You probably don't. I would never recommend anyone be with somebody romantically who is not at least supportive of their hobbies. That doesn't mean that you need to be playing games with them or, playing guitar with them, that kind of stuff. Like, but you need to at least be supportive of that. And so I think one of the things that gets circumvented with meeting people online is that very baseline fundamental aspect. And sometimes that like longing for physical connection, some people, and this is a sexuality thing too, but some people can be totally fine with not having a physical connection, while the other person could be a little bit more fluid on that front. Even if you have two people who are like aromantic or something, there's still going to be a disparity, right? There's always like I want to say power dynamic, maybe that's not the right word, but there's always like a sort of almost pressure for physicality, even if you're around the same level. So I think that like that's always going to be something that you can't address meeting people online unless you meet up with them first. And I don't mean that strictly in a let's get to fucking kind of way. Just, you have to, I think the way that a lot of people who we interact with in this community view romance is very like romantic, like literally. And the way that a lot of people in this community view relationships is very romantic. And I think it just helps to try to consider and, parse what you want out of a partner without just idealizing them. That's why anime was a mistake.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, Miyazaki tried to warn us.
He did.
He did.
And I'll always be the first to admit it. Like, over the course of my time on Discord and forums and stuff like that, I've fallen into crushes. I've fallen into love with a small handful of people and stuff like that. Heck, I even confessed to someone 3-ish years ago online that led to rejection. But in recent instances, now that, with my university, when I told my university friends this, Liquid and Guavs, Liquid always just brought up a good point that was just like, okay, like, it's totally fine, because that's just kind of how you are as a person. Like, you get attached very easily. That's totally fine with that. But you have to start to ask yourself, when you find yourself romantically interested in people online and stuff like that, what is it really that you're romantically into? Is it the fact that they're giving you attention or kind of like making you feel really good and like not making you really feel uncomfortable? Or is it like something more than, just kind of like surface level stuff, or like that surface level profile that like Joey and Rio both mentioned, that like your best version of yourself and stuff like that,
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think that that's always worth challenging. And I think people who have trouble forging those connections don't really ever quite evaluate that, or have like some kind of stunted or arrested development with that aspect of their lives. And not saying that you do, Golden, or anything like that, but it's just like, in at the same time, like, a little capriciousness never hurt anybody. There's an innocence to it. There's a naturalness to it, right? Sometimes you just crush on somebody because you like them, and like, just, it's like something that it's feels based, baby, and sometimes it's okay to work from that, but you have to also operate under that assumption. Like, it's a matter of emotional intelligence at the end of the day, no matter what. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. Sorry, that was a long answer.
It was a pretty long question, so.
It's a good one. I like that one though. That's a good line of thinking.
So this person, actually they gave us 3 questions, and 2 and 3, like 2 piggybacks off of 1 and 3 piggybacks off of 2. So the second question they asked was, do you think parasocial relationships have a bad reputation, or do you think they usually lead to problematic scenarios if they grow?
Ooh, it depends on what you mean by parasocial.
Yeah.
I think that we all have parasocial relationships with people, with creators, with celebrities, with various different people. We tend to hear about the bad ones, and there's certainly a line, and I think that line has become blurrier, has had more people crossing it, given the level of detail people put online and the access to them. And it's brought in a certain possessiveness of people's time and attention that encourages, poor behavior in this relationship. But and so I do think that is the focus, and so maybe it's getting more of a bad rep than it should. But I also understand the focus that a lot of people have to put on it to show, hey, this really is a problem and should not be continuing.
Yeah, I think a really good analog I have for this are Trekkies, Star Trek fans. Everybody knows Star Trek fans. It's brewed in pop culture, right? A lot of Trekkies are like, oh, we go to conventions and we meet people and they're like-minded, and it's like that's an element of parasocial relationships. Like, oh, we surround ourselves with these creators and these hobbies, and there are people in a community and blah blah blah, and that's great. That helps you meet people. It helps you forge something that you love. And this is kind of piggybacking off the last question too. But at the same time, you're kind of forging these relationships in a sort of idealized sense. Like you're saying, oh, this person does something that I like, therefore. And then instead of just, I guess, trying to take and interact with things, instead of trying to interact with stuff, people take stuff, right? Or try to borrow. And like, I have a lot of people with whom I interact, who I would say, like, I wish I was better friends with, or I wish I knew more. I'm more, or people like, content creators, or people who I'm like I watch Tim Rogers' videos, right? And I'm like, I love his like persona, but I would not want to be in the same room with his persona.
Right.
He'd be like an insufferable prick, and I probably would hate him. And I think it's really important to inoculate yourself from that concept of parasociality, right? Parasocial relationships are up to the person who's getting caught up in it to recognize it. I don't think it's really the fault. Right, exactly. Like, if somebody like fucking loves Joey from your page's content, I don't really think it's Joey from your page's impetus to try to, it's not my fault that I'm so fucking cool, right? But like at the same time, it helps to, if you like, for people who are influencers who do have a voice, no matter how small, no matter how loud, it is sort of like there is a bit of like self-awareness that should always happen. So self-awareness is literally the key to this whole thing.
Yeah, and it's all three of us here are content creators, and for many small and big, right? It's so easy to get caught up in these sort of like type of relationships, because like you'll see someone, a fellow content creator, and like because what's kind of like on the other side of that, like it's very easy, I find, to kind of like fall into the rabbit holes of like, oh, I found this new streamer, I found this new YouTuber and stuff like that, and just getting super involved because like like bits and pieces of the creative process and stuff like that, so
yeah, and not only that, but like aspects of people's lives do drip into that. People tell personal stories, they tell experiential details, all that kind of stuff is shared, and so to an extent it is shared. And I it's like I get it. I get why people would feel closer to that, but at the same time, again, man, it always goes back to the kill your idols thing. I don't know what to say.
Coffee Talk, the show, is not responsible for any personal feelings you may develop for potential guests as a result of these stories that we share on here. Because literally, Joe, you said that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally my show.
Well, there is to bring this a little bit more like empirical, there is an aspect of transference in parasocial relationships. It's like when you put personal or like heavily lauded emotional feelings into your therapist just because they listen to you, kind of thing. It's like, oh, you find a fictional character that you really like, right? And you really resonate with them. They inspire you, and then there is that aspect of transference there, right? Like they're giving you something. It's almost what's the word? Transactional, right?
Yeah.
And in a lot of in the content creation sphere, it's very transactional. You're trading your 4 hours to watch Modular's 4-hour Xenogears video, which rocks, by the way. But like, yeah, there's always that aspect, and I think that people sometimes take that for granted.
Again, it goes back to what I said in the previous question, right? Humans they're very predictable. It's nice when someone shares an experience and it's like, whoa, I've experienced that. I relate to that. And so you begin to, find your way attached to that sort of thing. And as you learn more and as you feel more, it just gets deeper and deeper.
Oh, yeah.
But that speaks into people taking that stuff and kind of assuming it into their identity. Like, I like this thing. And then when someone doesn't like it, or in some cases actively dislikes it, people will react negatively as if you are attacking the very being that makes them human.
It's the wackest form of osmosis.
I wasn't specifically thinking the Sonic fandom, but yes.
Yeah. We went over this earlier. Before this started, we watched like a video that was like 10 hottest characters in Sonic, 10 hottest women in Sonic.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Golden wasn't there for that.
Oh, Golden wasn't there. Yeah, I know. It was a hate/irony watch. Golden. Be glad
okay,
you were there.
that makes.
It wasn't
sense.
like, oh, we're seeing. I don't know. Oh,
I don't know, man. Listen, if y'all want to group watch Rouge the Bat, I mean, go for it. Like that. I'm not.
that's who was number
anybody.
one. That's who's number one, man.
Yeah, no surprises.
Sexy Bat Lady.
I thought the one surprise was that Amy wasn't on the list.
That did take me by surprise.
How?
You'd
I don't
have
know.
to ask the creator.
It's a joke.
Artistic intent.
Storm, it would not surprise me.
Oh boy. Sorry. Another question?
Yeah. The part 3 of this is: do you think the focus a lot of people put into productivity can be draining to people? Is it wrong for someone to not really want to not want? Oh goodness, grammar. Yahiko, did you write this one? Is it wrong for someone to not really work or contribute? And do people make others feel bad for thinking this way? So basically, what they're asking is
Group project.
is hustle culture, right? Is it, it's all over the place. LinkedIn lunatics, fantastic subreddit, but there's a lot of that with hustle culture, especially if you're in university right now, where it's just all over the place, where you gotta constantly be on the grind. You gotta wake up, you gotta get swole, you gotta put in the hours, you gotta make bank, you gotta invest, you gotta eat right, you gotta do this and you gotta do that. It's like, oh goodness, why? I just want to work and play games and sleep. So that's the basis of what this question is asking.
It's a question of
Here's
you.
my thoughts.
Sorry, go ahead.
Capitalism is bad.
Yeah,
that's it. Next question. That's it. No, I think it's a question of utility, though. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to find utility in something. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, oh, what can I contribute? Why am I not contributing? I think that leads to... God, that's making me sound capitalistic. But I think that leads to a sort of a drive, right? It doesn't always have to be capitalistically oriented, but I think that people should do stuff because they want to do stuff. And if you're having trouble doing stuff, sometimes it helps to maybe make something arbitrary and reductive to do. Maybe a list or a project, or maybe you want to set a goal, I'm going to say 3 things on Facebook today, or I'm going to tweet at least once a day, something like that. It does drive things. And I think that if you feel I don't know, lazy about something, everyone feels lazy about something. I am the laziest person I know, bar none. I am insanely fucking lazy, and I revel in it, right? And I think that if you try to hide too much from that, then you're just going to make yourself sick, but there's always room to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, I think there is more of an issue in our society with people trying to do too much and all that than people just not doing nothing. And I think in a lot of cases, the people who really want to do nothing are, burnt out from being required to do everything and anything. So I agree with Joey that we do need drive. We do need to be able to do stuff in our lives, but I don't think that's the issue for us in the current society. I think we are certainly more on the doing everything than doing nothing. And I mean, I feel this so much right now. The last couple weeks and moving up to now was so busy and so draining for me, and I want to do nothing, but I cannot do nothing. We have the holidays, we have preparations to end the year for the channel, and begin on a good foot for next year, and all that stuff I want to do, books I want to read, games I want to play, all these things. So I need to, find the balance in here, find the break time so that when work resumes for me again, I'm not, just completely drained, still, while also, still finding things to do. Because there are times when, especially I'd say the summer, I'll get like a few days of just doing nothing and like, this is exactly what I need. And then the day after that happens, I'm like, oh my god, I am wasting away.
I'll frame it.
Sorry, go ahead, go.
I'll frame it this way, dear listeners, in that just ask yourself, how many times have you sat down on the couch? How many times have you just kind of laid there in bed and after a few minutes been like, you know what? I think I'm wasting time. I feel like I gotta be doing something. Like I feel like since I'm not, I feel like if I don't do something, then I'm just like not doing something right? Like there's that.
Not once,
pressure.
Man.
Joey's got it down.
Yeah. And I wish our society allowed us to actually have the option in these cases, but it does not, either through actual necessity or societal pressure.
I'll one up you on that one and say that they say you should do that. They say that because, good lord, are we burnt out to hell and back, right? So they're like, nah, screw that burnout. Like, go sit on that couch and go relax and stuff like that. But the actions do not speak to what they say and stuff like that. Because while they tell you to go sit on the couch, meanwhile,
right, they want you to sit there and crunch.
Yeah, and they're going out there investing and being LinkedIn lunatics and stuff like that.
I see where this answer is derived from now, Golden. It all makes sense. But no, I think that's like I think it's very easy to get caught in your own self-motivators too, right? Like it's easy to say that I know that I will do stuff when met with these conditions, but you're setting a million conditions on yourself. And like what Rio is saying about like just literally not having time, it's an economic thing. You're super busy with work, you got house shit to do, you got the holidays, all just generic mundane things that do add up and bloat up your life. And like when that happens, there's not much you can do about it. It's just one of those things, man. In the great adage of the Midwest, it is what it is. And
legit.
But I don't know. I don't think I've never felt motivated by the couch. I've never sat down and be like, I'm just gonna rest for a couple minutes and get up. No, man. If I'm sitting down, I'm sitting down. That's just the way it is.
I had an uncle that said something, and my dad had loved all throughout university to tease me with this quote that he said. Boy, heck, did it get annoying real quick. But he said, it's not that you don't have enough time. It's that you're bad at time management. And I'm like, no, dude.
That's kind of a bad answer, too, though.
Yeah.
What do you do, schedule fun? You know, like
That's what people do. Like I've done that where it's like, yeah, I feel like I like had to like make a thing where it's just like, okay, so like I can sit down on the couch to play games like Monday, Tuesday, right? Because I'm not streaming, and then Wednesday it's like anime night, Thursday, you know, it's like streaming and stuff like that. Like I schedule so much stuff out.
Yeah, Hiko kind of. Hiko got a really good point too.
Good
He
Lord.
says the worst feeling when I spend 2 hours on YouTube Shorts. I'm like, damn, I could have played Nier Replicant or read a book or watched a movie or whatever. I mean, I think you gotta kind of embrace the modern age a little bit. You know, like
Yeah.
just a little bit. It's okay.
Oh,
Gonna ride it
anecdote
out.
to this though. If you feel, dear listeners, that you know, you are in that. Hiko's saying 2 hours on YouTube Shorts just really got me with this one, because during my trip, I turned off everything except for like Reddit and Tachiyomi for manga and stuff like that, just to kind of like take a break from stuff and whatnot. It was like about a 9.5 day break from most things social media. It was difficult, I will say, at first, but if you do kind of feel like you're kind of always on that pressure to do something and stuff like that, if you have the ability to take a break and just get away, like take that vacation, go somewhere far enough, if you can, mentally or physically, that like you actually can take a break from it and then come back to it. And it genuinely, it does feel like you're able to kind of do more with those pressures and stuff like that. They don't feel as kind of like weighing down on you and stuff like that.
Fresh senses, always the best thing.
Yeah. The vacation's going to be busy, right? Because you got to do stuff on the vacation, right? But eventually you get to that point during that vacation, if it's long enough where it's just like your mind is on that, you come back to reality and it's just like, oh yeah, I don't need to scroll on Twitter for like 5-6 minutes at a time, then immediately switch to Reddit, then immediately switch to Facebook, then immediately check on Discord, and then like, you know, have parasocial relationships and blah, 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 and stuff like that. If you want to, you can. I'm not saying don't do that, but you know what I mean? You know, like you feel like you can have more control because you've taken that break and you've like reset the gears in your brain.
Shell made a good point. Don't scroll on Twitter. Not good for anyone.
Yeah, just,
Especially now.
yeah, don't. It's all a mess. If you had to go on a blind date with anyone, this is a new question. They also were anon for this one. If you had to go on a blind date with anyone in the CS group, who would it be and why?
Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, for you, duh.
That's not a bad answer.
That's not a blind date.
Yes, it is, Shell, because I'm blind. Of course it is. I automatically have an out here.
No, we actually blindfold Joey before that just to make sure.
Dude, there's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
cafe
yeah,
here
double
in
blind.
Philadelphia that runs an event once a year where like they actually like blindfold you and they'll like, you know, like serve you dinner and stuff like that.
Yeah, but also like, okay, that's not really. Actually, Shell said this too to me, but also that's not really a blind date if it's like, you know, somebody in a community that you know who you know. You know, like that's not really. I don't know. That's not blind to me.
You can't
like
go on a
maybe,
blind
like,
date with
blurry
anyone
vision.
from CS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one of the people you haven't interacted with as much.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Most people that Joy brings on for the RPG podcast, because I've never seen or heard of them.
Yeah, that's a call out though. Okay, all right, I like that.
I mean, it's true. Like I've never, like, I mean, I'm new to all, like, pretty much a lot of your community and stuff like that. So
No, it's cool. I mean, you know, I think that's one of my goals too with that podcast is to try to bring in people who maybe a lot of other people don't know and try to introduce them to the other guests I have on. I was trying to do that with Rio, but Rio's like, I'm too busy. My life. No, I'm kidding. But
Yes, that was exactly it, and not any other reason that I was unavailable that particular night.
I hate Joey. Joey smells bad. I don't want to be on a podcast with him. That's what I said.
Okay, I'm okay with the general making up things on there, but Joey smelling bad, Like how am I here to tell over the
Dude, green
stream?
stink lines. You can see them. Sometimes Here, I got a question for you guys. Who's the stinkiest person in CS? I know it's Mamimi. I know it is. I don't even have to think twice. It just instantly came to me.
In the most respectful way, it's either Mamimi or Jack.
Jack had a neutral scent. I met Jack. It was neutral. I didn't really notice anything either way. I don't smell, bro. I'm so like anal retentive about the way I smell. I don't. Rio, answer the question.
About the smell? I have
Yeah.
absolutely no idea. I am not going to engage on this.
Sorry. I'm done. You could ask a real question, Golden. I'm sorry.
I don't know, Rio, did you say who you'd go on a blind date on?
I really... That's also what I really don't know about. I do feel like that there's plenty of people in Cerulean Skies that I don't... Like, I've really met several people, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with Yahiko. I feel like I haven't gotten a lot of chances to really interact with him. Maybe because the streams are so late for me.
Yahiko's a child? What?
I think Yaiko's older than Rio. I don't remember.
Yes, I'm probably one of the younger people in Cerulean Skies, just based on, Joey's age.
No, you and Golden are around the same, and no, I think you're actually the average. To be honest.
Do we get the Rio age reveal?
Oh, I'm 27.
You're older than me.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
Mid-20s as a child.
All right,
Chelsea.
well.
Next question!
What is the most memorable dream you've ever had? From Kelly. I have 2 answers for this.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Should I tell both of them or just one of them?
You can take my answer.
for
I
it.
talk too much and I don't have one.
All right. So the first dream, actually, I technically have 3, but so the first one is what I dub the egg yolk dream. And so what was this dream? Basically, the entire the whole dream basically took place in my house, and we were getting ready for a family function, and like I got ready like faster than everybody else. And so like I was kind of waiting downstairs, ready to go, and then my mom calls me upstairs. She's like, "Hey, can you come help me with something?" I'm like, yeah, sure. And like as I'm helping her, I realized that in my hands are 2 egg yolks, and like I didn't really find that weird at the time. I just did what my mom told me to do and stuff like that while I had egg yolks in my hand. And then my dad calls me somewhere else. He's like, "Hey, can you come over here and help me?" I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And like I go there to help him, and I have 2 brand new egg yolks in my hand, and like the entire dream just takes place me running around my house helping people out, getting ready for this family function while I have egg yolks in my hands. And then we eventually go to the event, and like as we get there, that's when like I wake up, and I still don't really know to this day what was the purpose of the yolks, but
So the dream is about fertility and the futility of fertility.
maybe, yeah. So
Oh,
the second
man.
dream is the time when I got cock blocked by Russia. And so what happened? So what happened was.
We're gonna get the explanation, Joey. Just wait.
So what happened was, this was a dream I had like early in university, like after like I had broken up with my then high school girlfriend. And I think there was still a period of time where like I was like getting over it because it was like a pretty toxic relationship. It was a pretty heavy breakup. But what happened is her and I were both in band together, and so we were going to like in my dream we were still together, but we were going to a concert together that night, and we get there really early. And so we were like an hour and a half early. And so I turned to her, I was just like, hey, so like, you know, we got here really early. What do you want to do? And she's like, well, like, do you want to, you know, do the schmexy times? And I was like, yeah, sure. And she was like, well, do you have protection? I'm like, no, I don't have it in this car right now.
No.
And she's like, oh, fine. You know, like, let's just go to a Walgreens. And so in the dream, I drive to a Walgreens, again to the parking lot. And she's like, okay, I'll be right back. So she goes into the Walgreens, she buys it and comes back. And then like we go back to the concert hall, I park, and then like, you know, we move to the back seat. You know, we get down and dirty with it, or we start to get down and dirty with it. Like we take off our attire, which was like pretty surprising because like for those who like have seen people in band, like women gotta wear like the long skirt dress and all that, and like men gotta wear like the tuxedo and all that. So like for the fact that we only had like an hour and a half in said dream to do it, was pretty surprising that, you know, we took off our clothes. But hey, you know what? Sex is sex, right? You know. Gotta have the fun times.
Sex.
And so as we're sitting there making out in the back of the car, before things really kick off and stuff like that, I hear some taps on the window and like behind me, and there's like this dude in like a military outfit at the window. And so I roll down the window and I'm like, yes. And the guy is just like, yeah, so Russia has just started a war with the United States and has, you know, sent out a missile strike towards the United States, and we're now starting the draft, and you're a part of it, so let's go. And that was the entire dream. So yeah, I got cock-blocked by Russia in my dreams.
Is this like Red Dawn, but like extra horny? This is insane. I love it.
I don't know.
And the counter on how long it would take for us to get it raunchy here was almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
it
that's
took a
pretty
while
good.
to get there.
Yeah, Shell brings up a good point. You didn't get cock-blocked by Russia. You got cock-blocked by the U.S. military. But it's a chicken and the egg situation, and Golden was holding both yokes in both hands. So
I didn't get laid in my dream is really the crux of it all, but
Yeah, that sucks.
oh well. The third dream that I now am reminded of is like the most like one of the more odder dreams I've ever had. Yes, compared to the previous two. In that the whole dream lasted like 30 seconds, but it basically was like I'm in my university apartment and I'm sitting on the couch with this one girl, and it's like break of dawn. And like we're just sitting there, like no words are being said. She hands me this like yellow pill. And I look down at the pill and then I look back up at her and she's like, don't worry, it's all over now. And then I take the pill. I wake up, and there's actually tears coming down my face. And like that entire day, I was just like fucked out my brains. I was just like, what the hell ended?
The dream.
Yeah.
Yes, the dream ended. But yeah, that was a really profound dream for me. I was like, what the hell happened?
And that is when Golden realized that the American dream was not actually achievable.
Hey, let's go. The yellow matrix.
God damn it.
No, I saw the yellow matrix. It was piss boy shit. I'm not a fan of it.
Oh, man.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Rio, do you have an answer to this?
Honestly, mine are. I no longer remember dreams if I even have them. So mine are pretty much all from childhood. And, you know, there's a couple options. There was one that was kind of recurring where I was in this area with a bunch of staircases leading around the side. And for whatever reason, every time I was in this dream, I would jump from one of the top. And this was like a really high up on the staircases and couldn't even see the bottom. I would jump and then it wasn't like gravity. There was some gravity, but it's more like I would imagine it being in space, and I would just float down slowly towards a different staircase, and then land there, and then do the same thing, just going down that way until I woke up. I never actually reached the bottom of whatever that was, but always just jumping and floating down.
The Archaeozoic big hole.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Said.
That is what I was dreaming of, and now I don't, because I have actually seen the Archaeozoic big hole.
You've seen the
Do we
creator.
have? I've seen the creator, and let me tell you, do we have enough? How many questions do we have left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Ooh.
We're a little over halfway done.
Yeah. No, I think that might be too many because we're
12,
like
13.
at the
We have
2
13.
hour. Yeah, no way. Want to ask like one more?
Yes.
And then like we can. Yeah.
I will do one more. Let me find my favorite
If there's
one.
any that's like specifically directed to any of us, that's probably one of the ones that you want to read. But if not, save them for when Yayiko's on here. Because Yayiko hasn't been on here, has he?
No, and I'll get him one day. Don't you worry. But funny enough, we didn't really get questions specifically to any one person. Let's see. So let me ask the question first. Which one do I want to do? Oh, this is a good one. Would you rather give up all beverages except for water, or give up all food cooked in an oven?
This is a really easy one for me, because I've pretty much given up all beverages that aren't water already. So that one.
Yeah, I would go with that too. I mean, I'd miss coffee. And the occasional whatever, but giving up all food in an oven would be, I don't know. We did just use the air fryer today, though. I don't think that counts as an oven.
It's
But
a
yeah, I'd
mini
go with
convection oven, but it'll pass.
True. That is true. Yeah, I'm going with that. I'm boring.
I'm the same. I could live without coffee and sodas and teas and smoothies and all the things.
I'd be sad.
Yeah, that question was asked by 6, and he has 9 more questions for us.
6. It's a lot of questions. Maybe one more, because that was a short one. Yeah.
Would you rather have a golden voice or a silver tongue? Wow.
Silver tongue.
How literal are we taking this question?
I mean, I'm just gonna
Figuratively.
say.
Silver tongue, easily. Golden voice, you could hone your voice to be golden. Now you're talking golden drummer, 730 voice, obviously going with that. But no, silver tongue, man. Silver tongue feels like a nature over nurture thing. Golden voice sounds nurture. I mean, I was complimenting Raph earlier because I love Raph's voice. Raph has a really good voice, dude. Like his intonation is good. He's clear. He's just got like a funniness to a gesturiness to it while also being like kind of grounded. I don't know. He's got a good voice. And you can't just emulate a voice like that. But silver tongue, unbeatable. That translates to more fields, I think.
I'm too nice. I'd rather go for the golden voice. And I am jealous of voices like Yahiko and Rio. Goddamn, the bass in your two's voices. Please give.
I'm not sure that's possible, but
Please
yeah.
give.
I would probably go with Silver Tongue as well. Not for the same reason as Joey, because I think the Silver Tongue is something that can certainly be developed in addition to Golden Voice, and I would say that is easier to develop than a Golden Voice, because I don't think a Golden Voice is just a good one. I think
Right.
it's a peak.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Are all of Six's questions would you rather's?
There's a good handful. there's like four, 1, 2, 3, 4 would you rather's, a couple of does's, and a couple of what's.
Well, they will make it into the next episode.
Yes. So, again, I'll be the first to say it. I did not expect to get 30 questions for this. I'm super happy we got 30, this many questions. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for submitting questions. This is amazing. But we will definitely do a part 2 to this. It'll most likely be in the new year because it's holiday season. And next week is Retro Week here on Cerulean Skies. I'll show that in a couple seconds here. But I'm gonna do that. Let's see here. Oh, what? Okay. So now that we're done, let's do one of these. Joey, do you have a command? Yeah, you do. Does Rio have a command?
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
I do not, I believe.
Dang. If you would like to show your YouTube channel, by all means, please do. About and socials, we're gonna go raid Yahiko after this. He started Fair Rune, so let's all go give him our support. Okay, so from the top, those are my socials there: my Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I am on stream break for my own personal stuff until the new year, but I stream a variety of bullet hell games and RPGs on my channel. I'll be back in January with more Strangers of Paradise and Fallout 2, and some more bullet hell games. But I'll also be here on Cerulean Skies as well. Joey, do you want to shill yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I just chill CS. But we have the Retro Week coming up next week, starting on the 26th, going until the 30th. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool stuff on the schedule. A lot of different games, a couple surprise games, etc., etc. Moving forward from that, we have next year, we should be starting to put out more writing stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone here who hangs is going to be around in some capacity. So I hope you guys can get some time off or just holiday time to come hang out with your boys boys and girls on Cerulean Skies, the Cerulean Skies Network. That's all I got.
And Rio.
Yeah, you can find me at CommRio. Same spelling as pretty much everywhere except Twitter. On YouTube, I am, working on those 2022 gaming review and 2023 gaming preview videos. So those should be coming soon. And I also have a role in the next week for Cerulean Skies with the collated media stream where we're going to talk about games, but a lot more than just that. Lots of stuff. I've been making a list for for different things to talk about. Yeah.
And with that, enjoy the holidays, dear listeners. We'll see you back here for Retro Week next week, and in the new year we'll do part 2 of this where we'll answer the rest of the questions, the 11 or so that are left. So let's all go say hi to Hiko. Be respectful, be happy, be kind, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. I think